Alright, so we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, sorry for the little technical delay. Get started. Agenda adjustments? From anybody?
Yeah, look at that, no, the heating assistant on it, nope, I'm good.
New business E up, so Rick can get out again.
Yep, we can do that. Put that as new business number 2. Number 1 or A. Sorry, put it as B because we have A on the line as well. Alright, I also wanna add, new business I. Which is a quick insurance update.
I also have an insurance update.
Is that the same one that I have?
No, ours is insurance.
Oh, okay, mine's the health insurance update. Alrighty. So on to approval of the minutes from our meeting on October 24th, 24.
Motion to approve is done. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anybody have any corrections that they found? Right, no comments or errors? Roll call, Sean? Carol?
Yes.
Yes. Michelle?
Yes.
And Christine?
Yes.
It's fast. To old business. Transfer station fence quote. So we have a estimate here. This is just for. My read of that is this is just the sliding, the electronic opener. Is that correct?
Correct, 8750.
Just for the opener?
No, it's for the fence and.
No.
No, this is just for the opener.
That's it, just for the opener plus.
I like my answer better.
Some remote,
Yeah,
that, and that's not the electrical side of it, you'd have to hire it,
Right.
same as your.
Yeah.
Your digital.
Same as the sign, now you'd have to have your, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be able to wire it up.
The additional. That on top of what we already had for an estimate last time on the sign.
yeah,
The other estimate, for the, rolling powder gate is $6,800.
Yeah. All right. Oh, what does the group wanna do on that?
I don't wanna do anything till I know what's in that reserve.
I'm afraid you're gonna ask that question.
Yep. You know me.
And I think it's a lot, but.
I just texted him to see if it's approved when he can install it.
How long is this? 3 to 5 days.
So we have one quote for $6,800 to install one slide gate on rollers.
Right.
And then if we want the electric slider, that's another
An additional 8750.
$87.50 on top of that, plus the installation of that.
Correct.
Just an
And the
FYI,
electrical.
Jim does not want an electric gate
What?
because he doesn't want an electric gate, that's what he said.
She didn't want to have to cost the town extra money.
that and he's afraid if he doesn't have power, it's not gonna work, which obviously this has. a
Manual
battery-
override.
This has battery backup.
Yeah.
Jim's old school.
Yeah, he is, I mean, nothing against him at all.
No, I'm just relaying the message.
Right.
So as of. Back in August, the solid waste reserve, was 10,600 and change.
But, oh no, because the cleanup we voted in on.
Right. And there would be a metal payment since this was done,
And there's
because the
gonna be-
metal got picked up
It's
since this
huge
was done.
again, so.
Right, but I'm just saying, just
So-
one thing to note is that would be.
Why can't we just go with the gate for now and see how he makes it through the winter with it, and then if he decides that. Okay. Manhandling it in the snows. Is that it?
Yeah, it's not like the slider is something that we can't always add on later. And then it doesn't sound like we have the money in the reserve anyway to cover all of that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense, if he doesn't, if he's not crazy about it, then we'll just go with the new gate and.
You can add it on later.
Right.
So I would make a motion to use $6,800 from the reserve account to install the slide gate on rollers for the transfer station.
I'd second that.
And, okay, I have a motion in a second, Sean? Carol?
Yes.
I also vote yes. Michelle?
Yes, yes.
And Christine?
Yes,
We could get that thing. That's replaced.
Yes, it would. All right, on to town cloud.
they've just been calling just to see if we had made any decisions.
We have a contract, I don't see how this is even anything to be talking about at this point. If we have a contract with Trio, I don't think it's wise to break contracts.
When does that run out?
I would have to look at that, but I know it
Like-
wasn't signed all that long ago.
The hard part is we just signed the renewal, the upgrade contract within the last 6 months.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about the upgrade.
So we just signed that we were going to do the upgrade. But my concern would be, we just signed to do the upgrade, but then also we don't have the money in the budget to
Yeah.
pay anything for changing right now.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be, if it is something that we wanted to do, it would have to be done through the budget process because we,
We just
Like I say,
wouldn't
we
get
just
this,
don't have
we
it.
just wouldn't get the same rate, that's.
right? Yeah, just like I say, we just don't have it.
So just put it down as potential discussion for budget cycle and.
I'd have to, even before saying that, I'd wanna know what the length of that contract is. I mean, cause it's a month, multi-year one.
Town cloud or
No,
Trio, yeah.
Trio.
Can't remember.
Okay. On hold.
Any other comments, questions?
I'd like to know on that contract that you just signed.
For Trio, yeah, we'd have to look it up.
Yeah, that's, shouldn't be a big deal, you just signed it.
That was in the last, actually less than 6 months, because it was in this year, so should be the last couple months. Very
That's
nice,
right, 'cause we
maybe.
budgeted for that.
Yeah, I want
Right,
to say,
'cause it
right,
was
it
budgeted
was.
for, so it's
13,000.
been recent, yeah,
Mhm.
I think maybe right before town meeting that we did it.
Yeah, it was right around that time.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how long that contract is either, so.
All right. Next on old business, planning board appointments. So as of now, we only have one person. That is on, has put in interest for being on the planning board.
We may have people, we may not.
I have it, it's just a matter of where I put it. There it is. So now we have Dawn, and Dawn is here. What? What are the stuff I have in? Oh, okay. So I guess my first question would be, before we appoint or anything like that, what is your interest in being on the planning board?
My interest is looking out for the whole town, the town as a whole, and what is in the best interest in developing the town into the future.
Mhm.
Um. Looking at, what's gonna help the town, advance, bring in more income into the town and just to help substantiate it. I mean, town since when I was young has gone backwards. And nothing against that, it's just part of the times, I'd like to get involved in the community, I'm here. I'd just like to see what's out there and available for the town, and now we can move forward. Be part of that. That's my interest.
Welcome to the planning board, is my thought.
Do we have any other questions for Don? No. Christine, did you have anything?
No, thank you.
So, the appointment will be from now until the election in June.
Okay.
So it'll be, filling out that time period, and then if it's something you're interested in, papers will come out sometime in March.
This is for a
Usually?
3-year position.
Right, we were only gonna fill it until the election,
And
and then have it go out to the public.
Okay.
Yeah. So, papers will go out in March, correct?
yes,
Usually?
Yeah,
Sometime around the second week of March or something, usually when the papers will come out.
do you know when they
And
have to
then-
be back by? Before
Usually it's right around April 15th,
April. 15th.
sometime in
Yeah,
that frame.
yeah.
Yeah, usually they're out for about then, usually they come in right before taxes or,
Yeah.
tax day.
Mhm.
But then if it's something you're interested in continuing at that point, you can take out papers and then you'll be on the ballot in June and.
Okay.
And go from there.
Thank you.
So can I get a
thank
motion?
you.
Can I get a
I make a
motion?
motion to approve Dawn Everly's appointment to the planning board.
I have a motion, can I get a second?
Second,
I have a motion and a second, Sean?
yes.
Yes,
Carol? Yes, Michelle
Yes,
and Christine,
Yes.
very good.
That appointment paper has the 3-year term on it, so.
We can change it and sign it later. Okay. That's fine.
thank you.
Dawn, if
Thank
you'd
you very
like to come
much.
in at some point and sign a paper, an oath.
I have a question for Diane while she's here. Whose terms are up? Do you know?
I don't know, we staggered them a couple years ago, so that.
You don't have it on.
Town report.
yeah, it would be on the town
Say the
report,
town
if we
report,
have a
so this
copy.
place- Yeah, it should be right there too. For now. We'll see if there one or two up.
I don't know, I'm looking. Cause you and Brad were this year, right?
No, me and Tom.
You and Tom.
Yeah, Tom just got redone.
I think Brad was
And then
last.
that one's, that's the seat that had been open for a while.
Or maybe it's not in the planning board.
It is. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I
the
thought
term
all the
date.
terms on the
It says
Yeah.
no term dates.
Oh,
I'll have to look it up.
You can look it up though. Yeah, if not, it's in the appointment book.
Perfect stars.
This is what I, this had Brad expiring in 22. Yeah, cause you said you and Tom,
Yeah.
so it's Brad, is up next.
You should.
Brad was on in 22, down in 23.
They have to take out papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, just like selectmen do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's percentage of
25
the-
signatures.
Whatever percentage.
Will
will
it,
last.
will the number of signatures go up because of the amount of people we had?
Nope.
At the election?
No, for,
Okay.
for municipal, it's more than 25, but, no less than 25, no more than 100.
So
It goes
usually-
by the amount of people in the municipality.
Usually we tell people like 30 some odd, that way they have extra, just in case they don't actually verify. Correct, yeah. All right,
Thank you.
all right, moving on to new business. CB, you have a couple people on Zoom for us tonight? I will turn it over to you and
Great. Thank you all. I'm gonna leave some stuff on the chat. I just realized like you might not be able to access it, but um, but it just goes through what we want to discuss today. The first one is just a guideline for the different things we need to discuss for the community action grant, and the second one is some identified priorities that we talked about in our previous meeting. I know some of you were not able to either, so hopefully that's helpful. Um, and my name is Gianluca, by the way, and I'm here with Scott. Scott, I don't know if you want to say something.
My first time meeting you all, but I'm just here to kind of support Gianluca. I'm the executive director at CB and have worked a lot with Claire on this community resilience partnership until Gianluca came and started helping with the meetings. So I'm just here to help support and answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Sweet. Okay. So the purpose of the meeting, or well, of this sub-meeting, I guess, is that we have identified great priorities so far, but we don't have a specific project identified yet for the community action grant. And since the deadline is approaching pretty soon on December 17th, the main goal of the meeting is to pick a project for the community action grant. And we can look at the self-assessment and based on our previous public meetings and the four main identified areas of interest. Unless you guys have any questions before we jump onto that.
I don't have any questions. Nope, we're good.
Okay, great. So the main identified areas of interest based on our past public meetings, the first one is bike and pedestrian safety. Through a complete streets policies, there was some discussion, and interest about like eventually having a downtown area in Canton, and also there were a lot of concerns about pedestrian and bike safety. And so that's the first identified priority. And if you look at the document that I sent, there's specific um letters and a number, and those are each of the like action grants, sorry, each of the community actions that can be all pulled together into one project. So I'm going to talk through these and you can reference that if you can access the document I sent you. The second one, Canton demonstrated interest in energy efficiency improvements in municipal buildings, including things like lighting, appliances, and HVAC systems. The third one, Canton is interested in supporting local food systems by policies for community gardens, food forests, and food sovereignty initiatives. And the last one, conservation measures. So because we've been talking about all the flood floodplain land that like Canton has available, there was an interest, sorry, in doing conservation, like increasing green space and floodplain protection to enhance your resilience against floods. So kind of combining conservation and flood mitigation. So those are some of the areas that I would like y'all to consider. And if you have any other project ideas, that's also great, but that's what we've been talking about so far. And one thing to consider is that there's a lot of funding this round, which is great. But obviously these are competitive grants. And you guys should know that there's more money going for vulnerability and resiliency planning, and not that much money going into energy efficiency projects, because there are other projects that allow you to access rebates and stuff like that. So with that in mind, I just want to, yeah, leave it up to you guys to see what you're thinking.
Are we supposed to be saying something?
Well, I can't open up the documents that you sent in the chat, so I apologize for that, so I wasn't able to open up those.
Oh, maybe
Something,
my,
On the email that she sent
yeah,
earlier today.
yeah, I do, I have, but I don't have
I can't project in here.
it on
otherwise I
the,
could put it
on the
up, but-
laptop, I have it on my phone.
okay,
Would
sweet.
it help if we shared it on the Zoom?
Yes.
Yes,
That'd be great.
that would be really great.
We would need to make Gianluca the co-host.
Yep.
so that he-
Share. What is it? Share, I'm not gonna share anybody. Anything sharing?
I think anybody can share them,
No.
one at a time,
Yep, we can share that. Yep, you can do that.
yeah, you can share.
Sweet. Let me try. Just give me a second because this is not showing me which of the many windows I have open I would show you. So just a second.
I have that problem a lot.
Mhm.
Would it be,
I don't know why it's not showing.
would it be more beneficial if we scheduled a meeting with the whole board and them? Versus,
Yeah, I just think it'll have to be quick because of the
Right.
fact of the deadline
Right.
that we're under to.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking, that it would be good to have it now because that we like also need to like call consultants and know like how much money is going to go into the project. You know, it's kind of a tight deadline, so
Yeah, we're a month out. That's a tight squeeze when we have to get estimates and things to put into the grant and do the
But-
do some back and forth with you guys. We'll write a draft and run it by you. So we definitely need all the time we can get. Well, here's in the chat something you can look at. That might help.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
It's the bike and pedestrian safety through the complete streets policy. Energy efficiency improvements in municipal buildings, including lighting appliances, HVAC systems. 3 is supporting local food systems via policies for community gardens, food forests, and food sovereignty initiatives. And 4 is conservation measures, like increasing green space and floodplain protection to enhance flood resilience and, carbon. Go ahead, what? Carbon
Oh yeah,
what?
yeah, you're saying it right. Carbon sequestration.
Yeah, that. I like number 3. And I like number 4 too, but those are. I don't know,
The hard part with number 3 is we already have a food sovereignty ordinance.
yeah, I wasn't focused on the food
No,
side.
I'm just saying that would be the hard part on that, is we already have worked a little bit on that.
I think the fiscally responsible one to follow is number 2.
I agree.
I understand, you know, about
Yeah.
other options, but
I-
if we can, this is one that's in front of us right now, why are we trying to pursue that? Would be my thought.
Well, and that would be one that would take less work on our part to come up with things.
Right, I mean, we
Right,
already
if
have a
it's a
list.
short timeline.
Yeah, we already have a list, so.
But I think it also would help us, the hard part would be, you know, if there's not as much, if that wouldn't score us as high in the grant evaluation.
That's what I was thinking.
But, I mean, you never know with that, it depends
I would
on,
rather try for something that's gonna help us more in the long run than some of the other ones. That's just what I'm. That's-
I think 2 and 4 needs to be looked at. Town Canton's underwater most of the time, so, and depends what they're gonna help us with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what can you
4 is the one that most of the money is available.
do? What can you do? What can you do?
yeah,
Well, I'm sure they've all got suggestions,
Yeah.
and with climate change, there's gonna be a lot more money available for it. But that's why we need to sit down and meet. Last week, I think Michelle and Diane were about the only ones here with that.
Yeah, and Dinah, yeah, it was,
It's great.
yeah,
there were only, what, 7 of us on the first one?
And that's what I'm saying. Right now, we've got people here that We need to attend to their business. You know, we just set up another quick meeting with them. That all of us can be here. When is Christine coming back?
December?
Yeah.
If she doesn't mind filling in for another meeting.
Happy to.
I guess my question for you guys would be, what's your schedule like?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty free next week to meet with you guys. I just wouldn't want to do it later than next week because of what I was telling you about, like we need to gather contextual information. And we need to also like call consultants. It's gonna take a bit. So yeah, I'm happy to be flexible and meet next week. I-
I have all next week open, earlier the better. That's up to you guys.
Tuesday and Thursday are out for me next week.
I'm booked all week.
Hmm?
I'm booked all week, so I'll let you guys do it. I can't do this week. I'm booked.
I'm free. So,
How early can you meet?
can you,
Tuesday and Thursday are out for me this week.
could they
next
do
week.
Monday?
What does your Monday look like?
Sorry, I'm having a hard time like understanding everything, but Monday looks pretty free. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have time anytime after 2 p.m. until whenever you guys can meet.
I can do Monday, but it would have to be after 4:30 local time, so I guess 6:30 Canton time.
I mean, I could do, I could do Monday.
You want to do 6:30, Christine?
If we could, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing a final check-in to see that both Claire and I would be available. I don't know if Scott would be, but we should be able to take it over from there. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be, but I'm sure you guys can handle it. It's real. Do you guys have the copy of the list of community action grants, the 72 grants?
Yeah,
It's really just kind of zeroing in on a couple of those. And you know, once that happens, we can take it from there. But yeah, you want to get as many people in that discussion as possible so that you'll have you know, you'll have more agreement when.
yeah,
We will see you at 6:30 Monday.
great. One last thing, just remember that at some point you need to pass the municipal resolution. So it would be also maybe a good idea to think about that. And yeah, and we'll see you Monday. Great.
Sounds
thank you guys.
Good luck with this.
Bye.
Bye.
we've already done it, I believe.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I need to pull it. I'm pretty sure we already did.
Yeah,
But we'll go from there.
like right after the first meeting with them. We'd already done that, right? Well, the resolution.
All right.
Like after the first meeting.
Now I will move
I
on.
wasn't at the first one.
No, way back when she came to us.
Sorry, Brian.
All good.
Go for it.
All right, moving on to, we're gonna mix up the agenda a little bit and go to E. Since we have our Derigo engineering rep here, rather than making him wait any longer, we'll.
Okay, I'm Rick Bergen with Derigo Engineering, and we're working with the Water District on a project here, and Sean asked me to come and answer any questions that you might have about it. I can give you a little bit of background if that's what you'd like me to do. Well, I probably won't have all the dates right here, but as you probably know, Canton has a surface water treatment plant that was installed 88, Sean, am I around the area?
Yeah.
Right around there. And it was driven by the Safe Drinking Water Act, which was, you know, passed in 1986 there. And it's a slow sand filtration plant, but it's showing its age, and it's a tough thing to operate for a small town like this. So I think Sean approached me a while back, and we started talking with this drinking water program, and Sean did a good job of securing some funding for a project that would involve basically mothballing that plant and developing groundwater somewhere down in the aquifer that runs down through the Canton River Valley here. So I think at this point, Sean's secured. Done a pretty good job. What have you secured so far here, John? In fact, Sean, I got it here someplace. I got it like here. I think you've got, for this project, he's secured $439,000 grant, for doing a new well, doing a new pump station, and basically replace the existing treatment plant. And also that money was gonna be used, we put in a congressionally directed spending request to Susan Collins' office. Sean was instrumental in getting that rolling there. And we have a 1.25 million application into there. Being able to use some of the SRF money to make the match for that fund. So basically, if it all comes through, and we're still waiting on the CDS funding, there'd be just about 1.7 million in grant fund to the Canton Water District for this project here. So we originally started out just looking at the area to see if it was feasible, and what we came up with, was this esker that's been mined partially running through town behind here. I'm sure everybody's aware of it, but it runs out towards the Androscoggin River, towards the sewage treatment plant, and there's a piece of property on it that the town acquired with FEMA buyout. Okay, although I know, talking to Sean, I understand that the deeds are not all straightened out and stuff like that.
They are not.
And so after we looked at the preliminary data, Sean told me about that spot, and we decided that we check it out because it's close to the system. It's appears to be on the aquifer, and it looks like it would be the least expensive option to develop a groundwater supply here. We went out and looked at it, and noticed right next door, Carl Luter's property there, had a freshly dug well. I looked at that and I told Sean, that's a gravel well there. I can tell by looking at the cuttings. And we got a hold of Carl and the drilling company, and sure enough, it's a gravel well, 60 feet deep. Made about 60 gallons a minute, had a little bit of iron in it, I think, but a good water source right next to where we want to drill. So we're pretty confident that this area down here, and I don't have the tax map, but I've got a few sketches I can hand out that shows what the project would involve. It would be basically a small pump station, an electrical upgrade, and an underground pipeline to the road out there. And that's pretty much the project in a nutshell. Right now, we're going through some of the initial steps, working on the environmental review. To get that approved, and kind of waiting to see what Congress is going to do with the congressional directed spending. And have pretty good confidence on it. I understand today from talking with another person I work with in obtaining funding. John Cleveland, he's an ex state senator here, and he says that Susan Collins is going to be the chair of the budget committee. So I think that's good news for me. So we're hopeful that the 1.25 million grant for the CDS will come through. We have enough money to get started on the project now. Some of the initial testing, because there's a lot involved with this. We need to test the quantity and quality of the water down there to make sure it's going to be suitable, determine what kind of treatment it might need, if any, and make a procedure designing and constructing the project if that's what the district chooses to do.
I know in the study that you had given Sean, there was also mention of one, I think somewhere around Carolyn's pit,
Yeah.
that if you tagged into 108,
Right,
you could potentially bring more customers on board.
right.
What is the cost difference?
I think we may have looked at that in here.
I think there were actually two lots
Yeah,
listed in your engineering survey.
Yeah. I don't have that, or maybe I do. Have that
Yeah, it's got
information. So. That was the treatment plant. I did an initial study, and it kind of got revised because the state wanted us to look at a life cycle cost analysis of keeping the plant versus mothballing the plant and going to that there. I could get those numbers for you because I have them, but I just don't have them with me.
okay. Well, I was just wondering cost effectiveness of,
The cost is, the cost is involved basically with the pipeline
Right,
and the, any electrical extensions that get there. So the shorter you keep those, the less cost it's gonna be. We're looking at pipeline costs now of about $200 a foot.
right.
Okay, and electrical extensions probably somewhere in the $40 to $50 foot per foot range. But there is potential, basically from Carl Luder's property all the way up. I'm not sure the next road that cuts across there, we can access these pits up there. I probably have it on a map here, but
Well, it was Kyle Ludis and Carolyn Mayhots, which
Yeah.
is Carolyn Doherty's, and then Scott Thompson's what they're
I
talking
think
about.
this kind of,
The thing is, Rick, they don't have drinking water here. And that's
Right.
what you and I spoke about.
I understand that, yeah.
Getting another grant to
Yeah.
run a line from, it's 1,500 feet.
right,
From there down to here, and I've already talked to Susan Collins' office about that grant money.
Mhm.
And she said to put an application in 2025 for that.
right.
So
Do you think, we're about,
one thing we probably should do, Sean, if you're representing the water district, we should have you step out or step
Yeah.
back to the. Just, no, I'm just saying,
I got it.
just because of what we did with the planning board a couple weeks ago, we probably should do the same here, that's all.
yourself, I had to do it when I was on planning.
Yeah, no, that's-
Yeah.
But when we spoke about that before, I was talking to Jason and Rob. They had to do the application for that. The water district can't do the application for that.
Mhm.
Remember,
Oh, they can't, so,
the water district can't put the application in for that extension from. Is it Scott Venture, whoever the guy is that?
yes, he's up on.
Yeah, whichever the last hill.
That's where the water line stops.
Mhm.
And the water district would do that when they, because the water district had to put in, town is all asbestos pipe.
Mhm.
And that was in our plan to try to replace that. So we figured we would do that all at the same time. But the town would have to put in for that money, because the water district can't put any extensions in.
Oh, okay.
Once they're in, then the water district takes it over.
Hmm.
They would maintain it.
What is the likelihood of getting a grant such as that?
Good, because you guys use that as a.
Rescue, I mean, that's shelter,
Emergency shelter.
Yeah, this is good.
yeah,
But you don't have drinking water there.
right.
Which is kind of a,
Yeah,
So there's no drinking water to this facility?
it's not
Correct.
potable, it smells that I have.
and the fire department's right there, if they use that.
And we use this as a
shelter.
window.
Right, there's no-
Yeah, they both go off the same well, and it's
You
not.
could probably hit a good source of groundwater in that direction over there in about 1,500 feet.
Right.
And that's one of the spots that I did pick on here. I don't have those cost estimates with me tonight, but I can get those to you because they've already been done. Because when we looked at this, we kind of looked at several areas along this Esker aquifer that's back here, that's pretty much been lined out. As being the best potential here, and I developed preliminary cost estimates for all of those sites, so I can get those to you.
It was 1,500 feet from the end of our main up to the fire department.
Right.
It's 6.5 dozen the other one you do there.
Yeah, see, the issue with the water district is regulated by the PUC.
Right.
And it's a basically consumer-owned utility, so they can't invest in something that might not have payback there.
Okay.
But on that own, it could potentially have payback to extend the lines out to here, because then you have there are other residences between where it ends and us,
Oh,
that
yeah.
could potentially tie
It
into
could
it.
potentially, but Sean, the water districts are bound by that PUC regulation. I think it's chapter 691. And it basically says, water districts can vote to participate in main extensions up to 50% of the cost. But it's probably somewhere, most water districts vote not to participate in those. And I've bet somewhere in the records of the trustees of the water district that they voted not to participate in main extension.
Right. And once it's in, the water district will take it over and maintain it.
So if it ran from point A to point B, would all of the residences that are in between there be forced to join the water district?
Forced.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so they could opt out to keep their own well. Okay,
But like you guys just said, if there's more houses or a complex
right,
that comes in.
right,
They can hook on to
Yeah.
it, and then the revenue.
right. Okay, I just didn't know how that worked, if
Yeah,
it runs
not
by
like
and they have
sewer.
to, well, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sewer's done by local ordinance.
Yeah.
All right.
But Sean has a bunch of regulations.
Right.
State, yeah.
Yeah, I knew they were completely
That's a
different.
big, the water district's heavily regulated.
They are,
You got the drinking water program, PUC, that.
Yeah.
That's no different than collections. You know, your sewer district's $14,000 behind right now.
I know,
Well, and what do you do about collecting it?
trying to get liens put up.
May I ask a couple of questions?
absolutely.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand correctly. We have, or the Canton Water District has the state grant, but does not have the federal grant yet. It sounds like it maybe has been applied for.
That's correct. It's been applied for. I'm waiting for a decision. Things seem to be moved glacially slow, waiting for those. But, we have high hopes and we hope that it might be appropriated in the springtime of 2025.
I took a read through your report and I think my understanding, and I'd like you to confirm it if you don't mind, is the current annual operating costs are about 100,000 and the new annual operating costs would be about 90,000. Is that correct?
I think that's probably what we estimated there. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and refer to that too. So, yeah, that's approximately what we estimated here, yeah.
So moving to this well rather than the surface water would save about $10,000 a year in operating costs?
That's what we're estimating, yes.
Okay. I guess I think, and again, my interpretation was it looks like it's about a benefit cost ratio of 1 to create the new infrastructure versus the existing infrastructure. Doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room with respect to estimates.
No,
So
doesn't.
if one thing goes wrong, it's not necessarily cost beneficial anymore.
Well, over the long term, it's generally much less expensive to operate a groundwater system than it is a surface water treatment plant. We only looked at a 20-year period, so I think as the time goes on, if the district chooses to go to groundwater, the savings are going to accumulate.
Is it the treatment costs that make the difference or?
It's mostly, let me take a look at this here, mostly electrical cost and the ongoing maintenance cost of a larger facility where you just have a well system is just basically simply a hole in the ground, a pump, some very basic controls, and maybe a little bit of, we might have to do some iron and manganese removal treatment, but those are basically, they just look like pressure filters, kind of
Right.
like maybe sitting in your house,
I have them.
Yeah.
But I see in the cost estimate, the treatment stuff is all the same. The only differences are under heat and power and insurance.
Yep, that's what we use for estimates here. We tried to give it a, a realistic, a realistic assessment to see where it is. I mean, if you look at this here and you look at it critically, I mean, it's a wash is what it looks like.
Mhm.
It's a wash. Yeah.
So I guess
Maybe,
that was really the thought behind my question. If it's a wash, would you, or have you taken a position one way or the other as to whether or not you would recommend it or not?
oh no, I haven't taken any position on that. We don't do that. We're here to help the district accomplish their goals and that's it. Whatever those are.
Has the water been tested at the sites that you guys are looking at? Like there are 3 different properties.
The only information we have is from Carl Luter's well. We tested that for PFAS. It's PFAS free. And I think we have some basic inorganics here. We had no arsenic, tiny amount of calcium, a little bit of copper, but very little bit, hardness of 20. The iron and the manganese are a little high. The iron is just below the secondary standard and the manganese is just above the secondary standard. So that's why we think we'll need treatment. Very low sodium, chloride, nitrates. It's basically a pristine water.
And what is the likelihood that the water from that well to the water, the well that you're looking at, say drilling, that would have a different quality of water? What would the likelihood be?
It should be a very similar water quality. It's in the same aquifer and should be a similar water quality, but again, that's why we need to do all the testing up front.
So, but none of that testing has been done except just on Carl's well.
Yeah, we just pulled up, I think Sean pulled a couple samples out of Sean's well. Yeah, we haven't, basically even started this project. We've got the funding in place and we're ready to start when we get to go ahead.
We can't go drill wells until you guys say it's okay to go drill. wells.
If you pick the Thompson or McCollum lot, you'd have to go 1,500 feet up to 108 and then 1,500 feet down to make the connection. Aren't you able to basically make the extension out to the fire station and the town hall basically on your grant? Hey, because it's up to people whether they want to hook up or not.
At this point, I don't know if we have the money to do it.
Oh, okay.
But you, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could include this stuff, but right now we've got to go 900 feet from the old Dawn Noise property out to that end hydrant and back to the reservoir that way. But right, if you come out 1,500 feet that way, then 1,500 feet this way, it's 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could, because at one time we were talking about going right direct up to the reservoir to Chris Painter and crossing until the reservoir that way. It was shortest route, but yeah, to answer your question.
It seemed like it would be a great thing to add some more customers, especially two big customers.
And it would, obviously, the more customers you get, the better off you are. And that Rick might be able to allude to this to answer Christine's question. It's pretty much a wash. But right now, what do we figure? The treatment plant needs over $100,000 worth of repairs.
Oh, yeah.
Been ignored all these years, and the drinking water program isn't gonna give us any money to put into the treatment plant. They're the ones that are giving us the direction, PUC and the drinking water program.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the drinking water program, but they seem to be very in favor of moving away from the treatment plant into a groundwater.
And just to top it off, I went out today in a kayak. I don't have this much water over the section. Because it's been a dry year, the gates are open. So, and I don't know what to do about that situation, whether I have to get a hold of DEP, whoever's written this order. Do we need to close the gates? Because we can't afford to move the section out into the lake anymore. But if it stays at that level and we get a foot of ice, what do I do? Because that section's gonna be encapsulated with ice. So I don't know.
I think to circle back to Christine's point about, this basically being a wash, when you look at this analysis here. It will be more expensive to come down this way to get some groundwater. So it might not look as favorable, but you're adding things into the project that could be very beneficial for the town's future. Extending that water main down to here and potentially picking up, some more customers at what looks to me like would be a growth area along this corridor.
Exactly, everybody has good questions to this. It's just that this is all PUC and Bill Dawson's, he was head of the drinking water program. They're the ones that are driving this project, because Canton Water District can't survive the way it is right now.
Did you say, Rick, that they did a cost estimate on the other two properties?
I did, and I have those back at the office, but we didn't put that into the final report because basically, we found that this lot next to Carl Luter's was available from the town and it was the most economical one to do. So that's why we went there, and there is not unlimited grant funding, fortunately. Yeah.
Did you test my dad's old well?
We didn't test his well, but the well that Kyle Lutis put in is probably 100 feet
I
from.
just know that one was really prolific. My dad was supplying water for 3 different properties.
And
When we was there.
Kyle's well's only 60 feet deep, 60 gallons a minute, correct? And it's all gravel packed well. And it's all the way down to the Campbell Road, it's not beyond, it's beyond Campbell Road, actually, that aqua. And that's why it was chosen. It's all, you know how it's back, it's all money driven, that's why you get the money.
And another question is the grant, the congressional grant, would that be able to be put towards a new well or fixing the current facility, or is it just a new well?
It's just specifically for a new well.
For a new well. So fixing the maintenance deferral on the current plant would basically come out of your operating.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought of another question.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
I think in one of the earlier selectment meeting, I think you said the district was 400,000 in the hole.
And the drinking water program paid off those loans.
That's what I was going to ask if that was before or after the drinking water program.
And really, that was Sean reaching out to them to see what could, could help this district, because I work for a lot of small districts and this one's been in trouble. It's no doubt, it's easy to look at your financials and see the district's been in trouble, but basically Sean, by getting this is the grant money for the project, but Sean got other grant money that kept the district solvent and kept them from defaulting on their loan payments.
Yeah.
Okay, so the deficit is.
We owe 32, they wouldn't pay it off completely because they want us to have some skin in the game.
Yeah.
So they left us with $32,000 in loans.
But most of it's.
Got a lot of it's
I
gone.
was gonna say, that's a heck of a lot, wasn't longer.
The rate there is $136 a quarter. It's third highest in Oxford County. And this all ties into the FEMA buyout.
Yeah.
When I had a meeting with Susan Collins' office, they told us to sue the town of Canton. And obviously the water district didn't want anything to do with that. But that's the first thing that come out of their mouths.
What one?
Sue the town of Canton,
Most of the time.
because they didn't look at what was gonna happen to the water district when they took that FEMA buyout. You can't take all that revenue away from the water district and expect that water district to survive.
Well, that is water under the bridge. not-
It is, but nobody realizes what happens when you take revenue. The sewer district is in the same boat. They're just lucky they didn't owe money.
Yeah.
And that's why we're trying to go down this road. I moved to Canton in 1965. I know all these people. They can't pay $136 a quarter for water. It's ridiculous. When we're trying to make this a viable water district, that's all we're trying to do. And the only way it's gonna survive is if you go drill 2 wells down there. And keep your fingers crossed, maybe that rate can go down. You're not gonna know for a few years until you see what your costs are. The electric bills, that pump house up on Staples Hill is $1,000 a quarter. I don't bring in $1,000 a quarter from revenue up there.
So can those 2 wells, or 1 well, 2 well, whatever, provide pressure enough to supply things in town without the reservoir up on top of the hill?
No, you need that reservoir.
Will it still provide more than what it does currently? Because I know there are people on the hill now that say they don't have water pressure enough. And I don't have skin in the game there, because I don't know, I'm just saying what I've
We just
heard.
had this discussion at the last district meeting, had Maine Rural, Kirsten Hebert, Maine Rural Water Director there, explained to Sue DeGroot, because this is the problem. From that pump house up from Michelle's house up to Christine Huckins' house, they're not gonna have pressure, because you need an extreme booster pump in that little pump house for them to, you only have to provide 25 pounds pressure 2-way house. And they're not gonna have it. But she could put 50 apartments in there, and it's not gonna affect the pressure of their houses up there, because she's putting in a booster pump. She has a 200,000 gallon reservoir up there. Water's gonna go to her house, she's gonna put in a booster pump in her house to increase the pressure in her apartment buildings. It's not gonna affect anybody, it's not gonna affect Michelle's pressure at all, because she's on a separate system from there.
Mhm.
Does the PUC set your rates?
We have to apply to the PUC our rate schedule, and then they approve
They
it.
approve, okay.
They don't set your rates.
They just say whether you can. or
They
can't.
say, yeah, but what they do is look at all your financials.
Yeah,
And they was, I can tell you right now, they're gonna look at Canton's financials and say, man, you gotta go up. I can tell you right now, R.H. Smith says you gotta go up 27% on your rates.
wow,
Do you think I'm gonna go up 20? I
Yeah,
can't collect
no.
my
yeah,
payments now.
yeah.
I have to call Oxford County Sheriff's Department to go with me. I'm
So,
not gonna go up on the rates as long as I'm there.
No, I don't blame you at all.
I'm embarrassed to go collect what they do. That's why this whole project is going on. He's an engineer, they're engineering, they're engineering this project.
Right. Yeah,
And doing the best we can do.
no, I know, I was just curious about that, that's
And
not even.
that's why Canton Water District is asking, town can't give us a lease on that property,
Yeah.
so we can go down there and drill test wells.
Mhm.
And put up a small building down there. And pump water in the end of the system to fill that reservoir.
Yeah.
I went and pumped hydrants, so I have to pump them every year. And the biggest part of the system, from $5 down, is 80 pounds pressure at every hydrant. If you get up there by Lindley Road, it has 60 pounds pressure because of the
Right.
elevation.
Yeah.
so you said the plant needs roughly 100,000 in repairs. So how far does that go back? I'm just curious, because I'm trying to compare,
Since they fixed it,
right,
I can't tell you,
okay,
Brian, they haven't put any money in that place since 2007.
Actually, he did more than that, Sean.
Well, I just,
This was the breakdown on what we thought the plant needed here. It's over $500,000.
we just went through an asset management report, Pete Gocher and I, by 2024, should have $1.1 million put in it.
Yeah.
This week.
so I guess what I was getting at with that question was, so. Say whatever the dollar figure is, that it may need for repairs, there's nothing in because the cost estimates for comparison in the plan or in the engineering study were just the operation. So if there's only, say, I don't know, a couple $100,000 difference in operation, what is the plan to keep money in there for maintenance of the wells? Cause I mean, over time, wells need maintenance.
So I just wanted to say, the capital costs of both projects are considered in this analysis and the ongoing operation.
And the ongoing.
And they're both considered. in there.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
they're
you.
both considered. Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
But I think it's the long-term O&M that's gonna save money.
Exactly.
Because it's well known that it's just expensive to operate a groundwater supply than it is a surface water supply. Just a fact of it. Yeah.
But again, the cost to, the capital cost for the existing plant isn't fundable by the grant.
Not this grant, no, and I think that's primarily what Sean brought up before, is that the drinking water program, I think felt pretty strongly that, the best thing for the long-term future of the water district would be to mothball the existing plant and move to a groundwater source if one was obtainable, that was safe and reliable.
Could you? Go ahead, Robin.
I have a question for Matt. If the town goes with Sean, the drills, what impact, if any, will it have on the lake?
I don't think it have any.
And
Can't see,
we'll just have more water in it, maybe?
no, because water's downstream of.
Yeah.
Of the dam. And doesn't. Well, at all, any water that comes from the water district gets back in through the sewer district.
Aren't you glad you asked?
25,000 gallons. Yeah, like, you're right.
No.
Yeah, the water usage is fairly low in town. We figured at an average of 35 gallons per day, maybe that's what, 24 gallons a minute or something like that, every day. Yeah, that's what. So it's a really small. water
Two more
supply.
quick questions.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I presume that you've looked into the amount of water the aquifer can provide and that we're not going to be hamstringing any of the other people currently pulling off of it?
Well, the closest well would be Carl Luter's, and one of the part of the testing that we would do, we'd ask him permission to monitor as well, so we can predict what, the effects of our withdrawals are gonna be on the surrounding properties there. Pumping test is basically called. It's required to do a new well, yeah, we'll know before we spend the money if it would, if it would affect things in a negative fashion, we wouldn't do that. I mean, I worked on projects before where, Wisconsin, we're doing a very large diameter well, 1,000 gallons a minute. They did not do their homework at the time, and I was not the consultant, I was a worker. They ended up not being able to use that well because it did just what you said, but I've got a lot of experience in geology, and the 30 to 60 gallons a minute, or even, room for growth here is not gonna affect that aquifer out there. That aquifer is very robust. Very robust. We're talking probably on the order of, millions of gallons a day can be withdrawn from that aquifer sustainably. Well, you had a spring, yes.
So the other question I had with respect to the town property and its FEMA status, have we obtained approval from FEMA to change its use? Do we need to? What more needs to be done?
Christine, until the land is in the water district's name. Susan Call's office is gonna get that release from FEMA. But she will not do it until it's in the water district's name. But that's just like me going to the planning board and say, I wanna build a house on these 2 acres. And the planning board's gonna say, no, until you own the land, we're not gonna give you a permit to do it. I've been down that road several times on this project. That's why I've asked the town 2 times now for a 99-year lease. And Brian says, what's your plan? That's why Rick's here, to explain what the plan is. And Brian says 99-year lease is a long time. Yeah, it is. We're not gonna be around in 99 years. But that's the standard lease on something like this. We're just trying to do the best for the water district and the town residents here. But yes, that release is in Susan Collins' office hands, just soon as I give them a deed. That's nothing the water district's gonna do.
So in summary, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the water district has a state grant. They've applied for a federal grant, but haven't received it, and that would be about about $1.5 million.
1.25.
1.25, the federal grant would be. And the debt that the water district had has already been cleared.
Almost.
I'm sorry?
Except 32,000, yes.
Yep, for 32,000, okay. The operating costs annually have about a $10,000 difference. It'll go down about $10,000 annually.
Yes.
Probably more than that, Christine, because your operator there is only gonna be a part-time job. That's already been discussed. You're not gonna know until this whole project is underway for a year or 2. You're not gonna have a full-time operator there by any means, like you do up with that plan up here.
I guess what causes me concern is the report says there's a $10,000 savings. You say it's going to be more, but there's a lot of unknowns. So I would hate to go through all these steps and not have any savings or have something
There's gonna be savings and you're gonna have money in the bank once this plant's mothballed and sold.
Have you confirmed it can be sold?
PUC determines that. See, that's what we're saying is the PUC and the drinking water program regulate a water district. You can't sell that plant until you have a new source up and running.
Right, but even once you have that done, can you sell the property?
Yes.
You
It's a
don't
question.
know. That's a PUC issue. And then you apply to the PUC, can this be sold? They might say, no, you don't hold on to it for 20 years.
I've been involved in a couple of water district property sales for other districts, and yes, it can be sold, but Sean's absolutely right. It can't be sold if it's going to be
So
used for your water supply.
I think my question was more around, how was that original property purchased or was it done through eminent domain?
I've seen both, Brian. I've seen paperwork up there that says it was taken by eminent domain, then I've been told by certain people that it's Bob Demers, is that his name?
I
They
looked
got-
it up today.
And you might know.
It was taken from Bob.
I've been told that he was paid for it, I don't know. And
Well,
I,
he got paid, you know, when you take something by eminent domain, you still have to pay a reasonable
okay,
value for it, so.
So
All will be above the truth, but I think it was an eminent domain.
okay.
the reason I asked that question was sometimes when you take things by eminent domain, it cannot be sold. It goes back to the prior landowner. So that's why I was trying to ask that question was how, if you know anything about the deed history or anything like that.
Well, that's what I know. I've seen it both ways.
Mhm.
And I don't know about the damage, was that guy paid for that?
He got damages for it, I don't remember how much.
I don't remember. That's been too long. I don't remember.
I don't see a problem with issuing a lease, I mean. If it doesn't work for him, it doesn't work, it's not gonna be any skin off the town's back if it doesn't work. And if it potentially does work, it's helping water district customers.
I think my concern is the unknown of how long it will take to realize the savings.
What's the difference with whether we? You're gonna have unknowns with anything, I mean,
No, I'm just saying that would be one of my concerns is.
I think one of the other things you need to consider is all the other towns up and down the Androscoggin River Valley here. You gotta get the Livermore before you're, looking at a surface water treatment plant. In Dixfield up above, you've got, Rumford, you've got, Bethel, you've got Andover, all on aquifers that are in either Ellis River or along here. And a lot of those towns made those decisions because those are the most cost-effective decisions for the town. I don't know what happened back when the treatment plant was built in the late 80s. But I don't know if the best decision was made then.
And we have paperwork saying that they drilled wells up, bonds. And
Yeah.
Matt may know more about this.
Remember
than I
that.
do. It was full of, I wanna see the rating.
It was radioactive. Yeah, they drilled some bedrock wells up on
Yeah,
the hill up here.
that was a bad decision. That's why they ended up getting slick. But it is,
So what would the water district's plan be if, say, you did drill the wells and you get going and PUC says you're not selling the plant for, say, 20 years?
then it's.
Do you guys still have to maintain the plant
No.
or does it just sit there and
Correct me if
essentially
I'm-
fall in?
Don't they just mothball it and that's it?
It would be mothballed and it would just sit there, but I can't see that the PUC would prevent you from selling it. Like I was saying, I worked for the Bangor Water District and we were able to sell some land off on another pond that we were not using for our water supply there. The Belfast Water District recently sold some land to an aquaculture company that, project that fell through, but they still sold their land. Because they didn't need it for their water supply anymore. They had moved to wells, so it's a very similar situation.
I guess my question is. I'm gonna point blank ask you guys, Matt, are you concerned about that being sold? You own land beyond there,
Beyond,
the water treatment plant.
yeah.
So are you concerned about that being sold?
Oh, well, not really,
Because I've got mixed feelings from you, well, I shouldn't say you haven't said a word about it. From, Emily Barasser and Paul. So I'm asking you, are you concerned about that being told?
I'm ambivalent.
Switzerland.
Look at it. No, I'm ambivalent. It doesn't excite me, but, you know, on the other hand,
Well, what's the reason it doesn't cite you? Because you won't have access down through there?
yeah, just access and, and so I guess I can see it going either way. It might be better, because, you know, if you have a residence down there, people are in it all the time, you have less, ATVs and stuff slipping by during the summer as opposed to, you know, when you're just maintaining the treatment plant, so I don't have strong feelings either way.
What about you, Chrissy?
Regarding whether or not the property be sold?
Yeah.
It's not my property to make a decision on. I guess I'm more curious as to whether it can be sold, not what would happen if it were sold.
Well, Rick just said most of the time, he's never seen one that can't be sold, according to PUC.
But that's not talking about anything to do with any possible eminent domain stuff.
Right.
That would be just if it was a definite deed-owned property.
Didn't you pass away?
Yes,
I don't know.
I guess
I'm just saying,
my question is, regardless of whether they can or can't, why does that factor into a decision whether or not to give them a lease?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's
To me, that's not our business.
That's right. And what I wanted to say too, when we did this life cycle cost analysis, we did not consider that the water district could sell that land.
Right.
So if that water district can sell that land and get a decent price for it, it makes going to groundwater that much more favorable.
exactly. I mean, I think we're going down the road about this eminent domain, selling the property. I don't think that has anything to do with,
We're in about too much down the road.
that's right.
The new,
We're asking for 99-year lease and you guys are worried about an eminent domain process. That's for the water district to worry about, not the town can.
I agree.
We're trying to do what's best for the ratepayers of the town can.
If I'm understanding this correctly, what we have now needs well over $100,000 worth of repair. Okay, and how is it supplying water at this point if it's in ill repair? I mean, if it's, is it doing the job now?
It's doing the job now. But we're going in the hole
Okay,
every year.
okay, so putting in the wells, I'm just trying to understand, if you put in the wells, are more people gonna have the availability to connect? Possibly.
Anybody that's near the system can connect now,
Mhm.
but the problem being, Dawn, is right now. I don't know how long we're with this. We're gonna be able to survive, I guess, if I wanna say that. Right now, Canton Water District can't survive if it continues on. Other than the fact the drinking water program community paid off 99% of our loans.
Right,
It's no different than Joe and I go buy a new truck.
right,
She loses her job, I can't afford to pay for that truck anymore.
right, no, I get it, I get
Right?
it, so. Wells to me seem to be less maintenance,
100%, you hit the nail on the head there, did it, he just explained.
you know, I mean, a lot of us have wells, very little maintenance on them.
We have slow sand filters, what they call it, it's like 3 swimming pools out back, 20 by 20, they're full of sand. And activated carbon, which they all need to be replaced at $100,000. And water districts at this
So
much.
you're saying $300,000 then?
We estimate $500,000 over the next 20 years.
Okay, so the other question I have, you do have funding for part of it. Now, if you do the test wells, would you wait to start the project till all the funding is in?
We would have to, because you don't really want to put the district out there on that point where the
Right.
funding's not secure, you
So
know.
all you're asking for now is to do the test wells,
That would be the initial phase, is getting the test and getting some
and
initial.
is that at no cost, or what's that?
We pay grant money to do that now,
Okay.
but we don't have the land to do it with.
Right.
So what,
Oh, okay.
This is what we're asking for land.
I guess my other question would be, so say you don't get the federal grant, so you don't have enough money to do this, then what's the district's plan at that point? Do you have a plan B for that?
Put in that for another round, is my assumption, I'm just assuming that, this is all new to me, Brian.
I'm just asking the
No.
question,
And I'm answering.
curious.
Now I'm answering, what I'm, and I don't, Rick might be able to allude to that more, I guess you just put in for another grant in 2025. If it got denied, which I would almost bet it won't get denied.
What is what you're waiting for approval on? How much is that?
1.25.
All 1.5 million, we're waiting for approval on the land.
Oh,
If we get approval on the land, they say, yeah, we'll give you the 99-year lease, and then he can move forward with the test wells.
Yep. okay.
Any other comments, Christine?
I'm concerned. My concern lies at signing a 99-year lease without even knowing if this project is gonna move forward. It's unclear to me why we need to sign a lease just to do test wells. Can we not grant permission to do test wells?
Personally, I thought we already did. Didn't we? Cause didn't the board vote on that when Rob was on the board? I thought we voted to
do
allow
anything
test
down there
wells.
without the FEMA release.
Correct.
Yeah, I thought we were told we could do test wells without, cause it's just drilling to.
Yeah, but some of the paperwork said you can't do drilling.
Yeah, that's what held up that
Yeah.
conversation last time. We did have that
Yeah.
conversation back when Rob was on board.
Yeah, like I said, I just remember talking about it. That's why.
I guess if water district, for some reason doesn't move forward, then they give the land back to you.
I make a motion, we approve a lease.
That could be written, piece that I just said.
Right, I mean. I don't see why it's an issue.
And it's not like FEMA's gonna approve this overnight either. That's gonna go through Susan Collins' office, then she goes to FEMA, you know how
It has to go
federal
to-
drags their feet. Yeah.
Results.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor. And that is to approve the 99-year lease. Correct. Did you have any other wording in it, or just to approve the 99-year lease?
I don't know, I feel that there needs to be any more wording in it, I mean.
I'm just asking.
No, I know, I'm just saying
Cause there
that-
were comments about other wording being involved, that's why I was asking to just clarify the motion, that's all.
If your wells are not successful, it goes back to the tech.
Right. What do you think, Rick?
I don't have any problem with the issues there, you know, about the land, I mean, you know, you can do it under easements, we've done. I think we did Andover's, was supplied with an easement with a private landowner. It's allowed, the district just wants you to control a certain amount of, the state just wants you to control a certain amount of land around your wellhead. I think that this property is big enough to do that.
Yeah, the only thing with the easement on this is the FEMA stipulation of, without this. Restriction,
Yeah.
being released.
Yeah, I'm not aware of what's involved with the FEMA stuff at all, yeah.
That's where college probably was something like that, release.
Yeah, but I think a 99-year lease would be okay with the state. I don't know that for sure, and we have to run that by them, but, I think it would be okay.
Would a lease satisfy FEMA?
It says in that thing.
It seems to me the Gordian knot we're trying to cut is. Town owns property, you want a 99-year lease, before you can get a 99-year lease, you gotta have a property, or you have to have a lease. Susan Collins can't work with FEMA until you own the property, you can't do test wells until FEMA gives you the okay, so this is
Right.
a chain of dominoes.
Bunch of hoops get jumped through.
So I have a motion on the floor. I'm looking for a second. I'll second the motion just so we get a little more discussion. Is there any further discussion? Michelle, you've been awful quiet tonight.
Well, I mean, a lot of my concerns have been brought up by other people, so I really, I mean, I asked the question on water quality and the pressure has been brought up, and so I think everything that I came to the table with tonight has been asked and answered. I do have concerns about all the unknowns. We don't know if it's gonna benefit the ratepayers. We don't know, a lot of things, so. That's what I have to say.
Question.
Okay.
If you put if you grant the lease and you put in a wording that it goes back to the town if it's unsuccessful, where's that timeline in there? Are you giving them
No,
6
they're
months?
test wells.
Oh, only if the test,
Yeah,
oh,
that was
okay.
what I read. Yeah.
Cause I'm saying, it does
Yeah.
not leave you at,
No,
do we wait
no, no.
6 years to find out if they're successful?
No, if the test wells are not successful to meet their demands and the quality, et cetera.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion before I call a vote?
One more time, if you don't mind, is it contingent on successfully or success with test wells?
Correct.
Is it also contingent on FEMA approval, or I guess you can't get to the test wells until you get FEMA approval?
Correct.
Correct. You can't get to the test wells unless FEMA approves that.
I understand.
Okay. So I will take a vote.
Yes.
Carol says yes. Christine,
Yes.
Michelle,
No,
and I vote yes. All right, and Sean abstains.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in and helping us with the information.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you, Christine.
Thank you.
Which, yes. Yeah, we can do that.
Can we move from what?
Yes,
Yeah,
because
I will, just a second.
as far as, we've been having an issue scanning, we can scan things in.
I have it, Diane, I can send it to you.
Okay,
I have it.
that was something I was gonna
Yeah.
just.
Okay. All right. So what I'll do, we'll reach out. I should have an engagement letter from our attorney anytime, so as soon as we get it, then we'll have to draft it out. Right. Go from there. So good. So I will, if I don't hear from him tomorrow, I'll reach out to him because then we'll know maybe we can have, we don't need to have it. Alex Pringle. Thank you.
I couldn't remember the first, I remember the last.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the.
Yes.
That's the best way to remember it, yes.
You're gonna have the attorney draft the.
I would have that, yes, yeah, no, so I will reach out, like I say, if I don't hear back tomorrow, because I should hear from the league.
They're all
Portland in New Hampshire, but he's based out of Portland.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all the same one that the school uses.
And.
And.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna adjust the agenda again, and, because we have Randy here to talk about our Campo Road update.
Hello.
Hi, did you just break the chair?
She did.
Bolt fell out.
Welcome. So what can you tell us about our Campbell Road project?
Well, I met with Andy. It's been a few weeks, a month or more, I guess. Took a look at the culverts. I understand you're working with FEMA, trying to get mitigation money, which is kind of an in-between compromise avenue is the way we look at it. Ideally, as I mentioned in the letter, if towns can afford it and if they get some grant money from adequate sources and so forth, then we'll go to what Army Corps of Engineer really desires is to do the stream smart crossings, which maybe you've heard about, which are essentially you go get some measurements of the stream banks, figured out how wide they are, and then you average that and then go about 20% wider. And then you'd have wildlife shelves on the inside of them and so forth. And the whole idea behind that is that the stream would be more natural, put it that way. It kind of restores the stream to the way it was before the road was there. But through the mitigation program, if you're only looking to use those funds, which I guess that's what you're locked into as I think about it. Essentially, the way that mitigation program works is FEMA does an estimate of what it would cost to replace that culvert as it is. And I think they gave us a price of 90 some odd $1,000, if I remember right. I've got the number here somewhere. And then what they'll do through the mitigation is they will take a combination of money they provide, money you provide, and I'm not sure, they've got 3 different programs, but in some cases, the state will kick in a certain share as well, through MEMA. But when they do that, that total cost cannot exceed double the cost to replace it as it is. And that's a hard number. I've asked the question before, well, what if they run up, get a price from a contractor and they're $10,000 short? Well, you got to go back to the drawing board or negotiate with the contractor to get the price down to something that you can afford. So what we're just on, preliminary basis, we haven't done any analysis or anything, but what you've got there is a 5-foot diameter culvert. And as Andy and I were out there looking at things and so forth, it would make sense to fall within that budget to try to double your capacity by putting in a pair of, originally we said, 5-foot culverts as is. But then the issue is a DEP requires that you embed the culverts at least a foot. So you'd be losing capacity in that case. So instead of going with 5-footers, we would start out looking to go with a pair of 6-footers. And so we would design it in that fashion. The way it would work is we would design it. If you want, it's up to you how you bid it. Each town has different criteria. You can put it out to bid, or you can go to selective quotes if you have 3 or 4 contractors around that you like, and get prices from them. And if they come in, somewhat below the 183,000 or so, then you can go ahead with a project. Suppose they come in at 220,000. Well, then we would negotiate probably with a low bidder and say, okay, what do we have to do to get this down below the 183,000? So we've worked with, this is kind of a somewhat of a new program to us. I don't know if it's new to the state or FEMA or not, but we ran into this on 2 projects over in Porter last winter and another project in Cornish. And they originally hired us to do the full design, this 1.2 bank full width. And then about partway into it, they said, oh, we're working with FEMA to try to get some mitigation funds. As it turned out, we had to basically redesign it and to scale it down to something that they could afford. And then in one case there, we took a guess. We said, okay, we think we can put in a 7-foot culvert, send it out to a contractor, get prices. He comes back and says, it's going to have to be a 6-footer in order for us to put it in there. So it's kind of a little bit of cat and mouse game trying to find a price. Because obviously we only provide estimates. We're not a contractor. We can take our best guess at what the cost is going to be, but ultimately it's the contractor. And so it just depends on how busy they are, how hungry they are, and that sort of thing. So I'll stop there, and if you have any questions or thoughts.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, they're basically from writing the plan, or not writing the plan, but giving us a guideline to follow. So whatever they come up with is what I say go with.
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately, when you work with FEMA, it's great that you get money, but there's a lot of pencil, a lot of paper.
Right.
There's a lot of work to it. There's a lot of restrictions on how it all shakes out. So we've just learned we got to be patient, and there's a little bit more work that they require that, you know, if we were just working straight with you, um, that would be the ideal thing. But whenever FEMA gets involved, they're always asking for a little bit more information.
Yeah. No, I,
Questions from us?
excuse me,
Questions or comments from us?
let them go ahead and do their thing.
That's what I think. Project going.
Yeah,
So I guess what's our next step at this point in terms of what we need to do next to get the project going?
Well, I sent you a proposal. I assume that you have that.
Yes.
And
Yep.
if you're happy with the price, sign the proposal and we'll get to work on it. That's we like to get, you know, obviously it's getting late into the year as far as weather and so forth. So we'd rather do the survey work sooner rather than later. So our preference would be if you could, you know, sign the agreement within the next week or two. And then we'd try to get out a survey crew out there to do the work, you know, probably within a week or so after you sign. You know, we don't like to be out there in 20-degree weather with snow on the ground.
Yep, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and especially on this where it's like on the upstream side, especially, and even the downstream side, the water depth is kind of hard to tell. You know, we'll probably end up coming out with a kayak to try to figure it out instead of trying to jump out there in waders and find out that we've got 4 or 5 feet of water, and this makes things a little chilly if they come up over the top of your waders. So we'd like to get going on it sooner rather than later. The nice thing about going with a round pipe is there's not as much demand for it. So, you know, there's some products, say for example, box culverts, Pine Tree Engineering, when they did their analysis, and rightly so, I wouldn't disagree with their numbers. They had recommended the 23-foot box culvert, and on the surface, that sounds reasonable to me. The problem is with box culverts is the companies in Maine that make those is basically American Concrete, and down in Auburn, you have Superior Concrete, and they're basically the same company, just sister companies, I guess you might say. And they have only a certain number that they can do a year. So we try to make sure we get an order in by, you know, April thereabouts. But since on this product here, I think probably the way we would approach it would be to try to go for reinforced concrete pipe. You know, again, probably targeting the 6-foot diameter. Again, we'll do some analysis to see what we can do. And then, you know, that's pipe is a little bit more readily available. Not quite so much demand, or well, maybe I should say the demand might be there, but there's much more capacity for the companies to build it.
I make
Did you
motions.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, did you say 2 6-foot diameter culverts?
Again, that's an initial assessment. We may find a little different after we start looking at some numbers, but that's kind of our first concept, I guess you might say.
And more toward the board, is the town paying for the design and FEMA's paying for the construction, or is it both that FEMA's paying for?
I just signed off yesterday on FEMA money for the design and engineering for just under 28,000. So they are paying the majority of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
So Randy, I don't know if you have a copy of it. I'm just looking at the proposal that you had sent us back a
Yes.
couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So am I correct that the total cost for you guys be, is it 20,000? Or did
Yes.
I miss?
No,
Okay.
no, you're correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm saying,
I
do
did.
you want to finish making your motion?
Yes.
You got cut off.
I make a motion that we sign their contract. And
Second.
I have a motion in a couple seconds. Sean,
Yes.
Carol?
yes,
I say yes. Michelle?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Randy. We'll get a signed copy headed back your direction.
Excellent. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate it. Have a good
Thank you.
evening. Have a good evening.
You
You as well.
Bye.
All right.
What organization is he with?
You're engineer.
Engineering.
Yeah, we kept them busy.
It took a lot to get somebody to come look at it because
You're
Yeah.
bringing the proposal, Brian?
that I am, yep.
Awesome.
All right, so now let me just find out where we are. Going back to B to abatements.
Okay, I'm lost.
Wait till you get to the minutes, so, yeah. Paul sent these over. He had someone request just that he looked at this, he decided to do, an abatement on, Wendell Carlin's house. And then this one is a personal property one that looks like he is deleting a duplicate. And he just asked that, you sign off on the abatements.
Yeah. If that's what you're listening.
Yeah, so it's in there.
Yeah, I copied them.
I don't know.
And I don't know either, we sent them over. After doing reviews, he said he found. Said that one needed to be deleted, so.
I have to look at the lot, I'm not sure. Okay. Looks like we have two. We have one for 38,753 in valuation for 804.12 tax dollars. The second abatement is for 14,802 in valuation for 307.14 tax dollars.
Motion, we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve both tax abatements. The first one for 38,753, 804.12. Second one for 14,802 in valuation for an amount of 307.14. John,
Yes.
Carol.
Yeah.
Yes. Michelle
Yes.
and Christine.
Yes.
All right, when that's going around to be signed. We will jump on to the next one. Which is heating assistance money.
We've got to finalize the guidelines for distributing it.
Can we back up to a meeting room use?
We can go back to that in a second.
Oh, okay, I just didn't know if
Sorry.
you were skipping around.
I overlooked it, my check mark kind of went on the other line. We'll go back to it here in a second. But yeah, heating assistance money, I don't know if anybody that didn't hear about it, the wind towers gave the town $3,000 again this year for heating assistance. So what we need to do, like Carol mentioned, is finish. We kind of started to talk last year of a application process or evaluation criteria for that. And then we never finished it because the heating season ended
Yeah.
a little early last year, so by the time we got the money and it was too late. So, I think, were you working on that
Yeah,
application?
you would come up with a preliminary thing.
I did.
Yeah. That's why I was looking at you, because
Yeah,
I
you
think I
did.
remember you were looking at
You did.
some stuff.
Okay, I'll look at my computer at home. I don't remember.
I think the planning board helped you submit an application form. Yeah, so
Is it-
it had criteria on it, but I know it said this is all the information the town needs to give them to make a decision on.
Yeah, I do remember this. I just.
Well, and I remember because Diane sent something that I think the
That's-
church used or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
That we might
Yeah.
have used as a sample.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what I mean, I think there was some,
I am gonna search through my emails and I will search through my computer at home and I may reach out to you and we'll find it, yeah.
Perfect. No, just if we can get something going and then that way we can put it out in the
Yeah.
crier that, hey, if you are in need, there is a. Along with general assistance, there is a town program that we can help.
Did we get the money already?
Yeah,
Yes, money is in
Okay,
so
hand.
we have most of last year's money plus
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I know we did have one applicant
Right.
last year.
Correct.
Yeah, so we have what's left from that and then.
Yeah, 'cause that was
something
only.
forward. I can't remember, I'd have to look it up.
It was,
You remember, Diane, how much it was last year?
The overall meetings,
No, how much?
oh, we gave to one person,
Yeah,
might be like $1,500.
was it that much? I didn't think.
I can't remember. I know last year's money was the same. We received
Yeah.
3,000 last year too. So.
yeah,
Okay, great. You wanna work on that and send it out to us when you get a
I will.
draft?
Yes.
No, we had
You'll
that
get it
problem.
before the next meeting.
Perfect. All right, we will go back to C, meeting room request, so I don't pass over it again.
All right, we have a meeting room request. She had originally put the date in as the 17th, but I believe she has moved that to December 7th. I'd have to look at the calendar. I can't see it from here.
Yes, there's something written on there for December.
Okay.
Yeah. It is, I can read it from here.
Application's filled out. It's for a baby shower.
Oh, I thought I saw this, yeah,
I thought, what did that?
in the email.
Yes.
Yes.
See, that's why I didn't do it. It's not in there.
Huh?
It's not in the pile, that's why I didn't do it.
Well,
That's why
I didn't,
picked
I
it.
didn't want to mess up by adding extras when I needed the
All good.
original.
All right, any questions
Nope.
No,
for a baby shower on this December 7th?
Do we need to have a motion? Make a motion to approve the meeting room use.
second,
I have a motion to approve,
We put
Sean,
that down.
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Michelle,
yes.
Christine.
Yes,
Oh,
Right.
yes. So, moving forward, if somebody does, like, say they come in yesterday and they want to use it that weekend, do we? I know the board wants to be advised.
Yep.
Does it need to be approved? Or just,
They should fill out the form and just call one of the board members.
okay,
And we'll
but we
take
can,
it
we
from
don't
there.
have to hold them up saying, no, you
Right.
should have applied 2 weeks ago type of thing.
No,
Okay.
just,
No.
just contact us so we know
Yep.
what the request is and,
Did you sign it? So we know it's okay to.
that way,
Yep.
and that way we know if
Who has it?
somebody,
Yeah.
that way we know who's in the building and
Okay.
what's going on.
Perfect, yeah.
Yep. G, rabies clinic.
We have a rabies clinic. There's a sign on the, we have signs everywhere. It'll be on January 11th from 9 to 11. Turner Vet Service is coming here to do it. It'll be $20 per animal, cash only. And, they're pretty excited that we're gonna get back into doing them. So that puts it before the late fees start, so.
Stupid question. Are the dogs staying in the cars because they can't come in the building? How are we doing that? Or is that an exception?
Look at the
I
policy.
know, that's what I'm asking. I just wanna make sure that that's,
Yep, no, the
Yeah.
exception is actually written
Okay.
into the policy, unless it's an event
Right.
sponsored by the town.
yeah, I just wonder.
Yep.
Have that out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Yep.
And we've actually had a couple people already inquire about it, so, we're gonna put it in the crier. It's already on the new bulletin
Do
board.
they want a number in advance?
Nope,
Like, no-
they've never
okay.
asked for a number in advance.
So you don't have to register in advance or anything, just show up.
Nope, and, I'm going to make as far as I know, we're gonna set it up so people can register their dogs on the same day.
Mhm.
I'll find a way to make it work between the two, but that way nobody can have the excuse, you couldn't do it, I'm right here,
Well, then,
Mhm.
so,
Sounds good.
why not?
Alrighty,
yeah.
GA class.
I am looking at making a, general assistance winter issue workshop. Just to get some extra, I'll pass that around, I didn't put it in there. Just to get some extra guidance as far as GA, especially with winter things. I believe it's a Friday. Of course, Aaron will be here.
it's a Friday, yeah.
Yeah, we both think it's probably gonna be beneficial. Just because the forms are difficult to.
yeah, those GA assistance forms are
Yeah,
crazy to fill out.
well, and they're hard on on our side because we have to go by what our limits are and our maximums are and.
We have our meeting, right? Yeah.
All right. Any questions on that? Okay,
I'll go to apply for it.
I think it would be a great training.
insurance. So I just wanted to throw that on there real quick. I gave each of you a notice that we received from the Maine Municipal Employees Health Trust. That as of January 1, our health plans will be seeing a 9% increase.
Do we know if that's cheap?
Nine.
Nine, if that's the cheapest thing going
Nine.
for it.
I don't know, we would have to.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
I said, do we know if that's the cheapest thing going for us? I
Oh.
mean, should we be? Is shopping around a wise thing to do? I mean, 9% today's day and age is pretty good height.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unknown.
Huh?
It's not unheard of though.
No, I know, but I mean,
School had a 10, some had
No,
12
I-
to 10 last
I
year.
understand, but
Yeah,
coming
I-
into January when our budget begins in July and we didn't budget for it.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's when the health insurance comes in January. And I've seen up to a 15%
Yeah.
increase in health insurance.
Yeah, let's not talk about that high. That's why.
That is high.
I think that the other thing to note would be co-pays are being increased.
Mm,
Well, they're just.
There's multiple changes listed in the sheet,
They
so,
dropped one plan.
yeah, so yeah, just for you guys to take a peek through and, yeah. Great information.
No.
All right, other business.
I have a
You had
stack
more?
of stuff, yep. We have a application for a catering permit, it's a liquor license, it came through from the state. The municipality has to sign off and then we can send it back to the state. I believe I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
And it's a birthday party at the Historical Society.
That's a different form than what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
They changed the liquor, all the liquor licenses now go through the state and then come back to us, and they have changed the whole format.
Yeah.
Um,
So there's no signature sheet?
there is a signature sheet. Where?
There is?
On the application, on,
Oh,
it's an electronic,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
so if you give,
I make a motion to approve the liquor license permit, for the event being held at the Historical Society
December 7th.
on December
Yes.
7th.
At Alan's birthday. I think everybody did something.
you are.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Sean, Carol.
Yes.
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 And Christine.
I'm gonna abstain.
are you good with me signing off on that?
Yeah.
I think you'll have to if it's a digital one, yes.
I just wanted,
Yep,
you all have a copy of report from the code enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And this has been forwarded to the planning board.
thank you.
And he's still getting calls. He keeps saying, okay, I'm done for the winter and
There was no winter yet.
no, no. So I wanted you to have that. That is this. He's been busy.
Oh my God. People have, people go.
Any questions or comments on the CEO report?
No.
Okay. Next.
This is
Michelle.
for, this is for me, I'm asking for time off. I have, still have vacation time. Aaron will cover the office.
I would have signed it, Brian. I was just handing it to you to look at.
We don't need a motion or anything on that, right? Just approve it.
No.
Okay. This,
Enjoy your Christmas.
thank you. I'm going to see the kid.
There you go. I signed the top one, you can sign the bottom. one.
Okay.
Brian can't sign this one. This is reimbursing him for candy.
Robin's fault, she made me buy it.
Candyman can.
It was the candy for the haunted walk and
Yeah.
Truck or Treat.
Thank you. So this other one, while she's doing this, we've been discussing, I've been talking to Angie Snow from the bank. We have currently taken in since October 21st, a little over $1 million in deposits, which is great. Everyone's coming in, they're paying their taxes. A lot of people are paying them in full. And we've been making multiple bank runs. So Andrew Scoggin offers a courier service pickup. So if we need change, they'll bring us change. If they'll pick up our deposits, it's all secured. And I think I put this in your packets, a couple of different options. Nothing really changes about our accounts. It's just a little formula change that they would do. Creating, like option 1 would be keeping the operating balance set to 90,000, which earns a credit to offset the cost of the courier pickup. Basically what she's doing is, depending on which option we choose, the courier pickup's gonna be free. And she tossed out there a couple of proposals. I just think that would save us, first of all, taking that much money to the bank. Where it will be in a secure vehicle. And
So we don't get any interest now though, if we switch?
if you look at, and I have to go back and look at these. We'll be getting. Not as much, no. So if you kept the average balance at 90,000. Estimated earning credit would be $147 and change, and the service charge would be $143. So no, we would basically be balancing out. On those accounts. So I'm not, like I said, I'm just not sure. And they'd be waiving some charges.
Well, instead of seeing $140,000 or $147, we're gonna see $4.
I just didn't know, I mean,
That's cost.
Yeah,
and she said that's ultimately just playing the number, it sounds bad, playing the numbers game too. So we're not paying extra to have the pickup. And,
Well, we're not paying extra to have the pickup, but they're taking money away from us, so we are paying.
right.
I mean,
We're paying one way or the other.
yeah,
right,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't,
We don't have to pay a fee, but we're not earning interest.
exactly.
Yeah.
well, but what they will do, if you read like option 1, they're increasing the rate to 1.25. So,
It's
Right,
still,
but it's still a
right,
loss.
exactly, yeah.
right,
Yeah, it's still at the end of the day, a loss overall.
I just wanted to toss this idea out there, so I mean, versus. It doesn't always happen, but that much money in a personal vehicle versus a secure vehicle.
We are bonded though too. When
Right, we
transported,
are
we're still
bonded, yep.
bonded.
So, but it is an option.
I don't think we ought to be losing money.
Okay, we can leave it alone. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
We just
I
wanted
mean, I
to,
just,
it was tossed out to
Right.
us.
I think-
And,
I think it's something we can think about, but I would like the treasurer to look through it.
Okay.
But I think I also would like to have somebody from Androscoggin come to one of our next meetings.
Yeah, talk about
Because
it.
I'd like, well, I was thinking just this, I'd like to come talk about CD rates.
Yeah.
I would like
I
to see
can
what there
talk to
are for
Amy.
investment opportunities. I think we're at the point where our undesignated fund is healthy enough. I think we should be looking at investing a portion of it, into a CD. Not outright investing it, but putting it into a CD to try to earn a higher interest rate
Yeah.
on what we're pulling back. The other thing that kind of goes with that is we're receiving the money from the wood cutting. My recommendation would be to take that money and put that directly into a long-term CD,
Mhm.
because it's money that we didn't have
Right,
already in hand, it's new money coming in. One thought would be if we put it in a long-term CD, that usually is a higher rate of interest. And then we could maybe play with a shorter term CD with some other money, just
Yeah.
to see if there's a way to make the money that's sitting there work for us a little bit more.
We might wanna talk to some other banks too.
Right, well, it's,
Exact scenario.
yeah, Jada Childs from Franklin came to see us last year and we said, once we had our treasurer in, we were gonna meet with her again. So that's why I wanna have Andrew come give us the rates, and then I'd like to have Jada and maybe somebody else too.
yeah.
Come in and,
Have Trish here when they're here.
Yeah.
too.
yes, I agree. Yeah.
When would you like to try to get them in? After the first of the year or for the next meeting?
At this point, we probably have to do it after the first of the year,
All right, so we'll put this on
since we
hold.
only have one meeting between now and then anyways.
Right,
Yeah,
we'll
right.
put this on
Yeah.
hold and ask Angie to come after the first of the year.
I agree.
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah.
I know somebody just went with Franklin from Bangor, because
Mhm.
Bangor, helped them at all.
Yeah, I know, on some stuff that we did last year with the Snowmobile Club, we got better rates out of Otis than we did at Franklin. So it's just one of those things, that's why I'm saying I think we should shop around a little bit and see,
Definitely.
not only with maybe this, but just kind of see overall if there are other options that maybe we can make it work. That even if we do keep our normal stuff at one and use the other just for the
Right.
CD, I mean, at least that's, maybe we can get something out of the deal.
Yeah.
Check around.
Yeah. Go for it.
When you were saying that all that money, does most of it come through via check? Checks? Do you have a check reader? Because those were awesome.
They don't work awesome. We've had them here. We've actually had a lot of cash. More than I ever anticipated. We do have a lot of checks, which that's fine, that's paper and, we've had the check readers. They're not as great. With what we have, we've been that route and we decided if we have to go to the bank anyways, we might as well take the checks.
Okay.
We have looked into that.
No, they weren't great.
Yeah, we've had the newer ones that circle
Yeah.
around and,
We always end up giving them back.
yes, we've been through several of them. But I'm very surprised at the amount of cash. Which, yeah, the bills are being paid, so.
What else you got?
What else do I have? Okay. Office update, liquor license, CEO deposit pickup. New bulletin board is up. It is a locked bulletin board. So we're asking anybody if they want to put something in it to bring it into the office, just so we're not handing out keys left and right.
Mhm.
This and that. Construction, this and that.
Builders.
Yeah.
Builders.
Yeah.
He was great to work with. He was awesome to work with. We also did the Dropbox, so now we have a Dropbox for not only the time cards, but for payments. It goes into a locked box inside. 30-day sewer notices have been mailed out. So we've done the 30 days. We have had several complaints from people that they've not received their tax bills. They've all been mailed. But people are coming in saying, properties, I got one bill, I didn't get the other bill. We've had people who, it's mailed to the post office and they have a post office box and they're not getting their mail, so. There's something with the postal service.
I had
But,
two payments that were mailed out on the same day that never got to their destinations.
so if you hear anything, all the bills were mailed, and we're getting some back, but we're having an issue with.
Can you or Aaron just put a post out on Facebook saying, hey, we've had some complaints that people haven't received their tax bills. If you haven't, please call us and we can get you another copy.
Yep. And today, Flynn was down with the new insurance policy that's effective tomorrow. for the next year. And he said he would be in touch with us in like February to talk about the next budget season.
Yeah.
Um,
How much is that?
From Kai's.
yes, from
Yeah.
Kai's.
Fine.
I haven't gotten, because
You won't get close.
in the meantime, we dropped the fire truck, so we're waiting on the new numbers.
Yeah.
And we just added, I don't know if you're gonna bring up the new driver, but we just added him to the policy today,
Okay,
so.
well, last I knew, we were still waiting to hear back, so.
Oh.
From insurance.
She told us to run the record.
Yeah.
So we ran the driving record and
That-
she said if
that's
it
the
came
last
out
time.
clear, they'd send it off to gap filter. And
Yeah.
she said if they had problems, they'd let us know, but she didn't foresee
Okay.
anything where he wasn't driving a big truck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I paid the deposit for the sign. And do we need to move forward with getting electrical?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that before the ground freezes. That was,
yes, I'll shoot a team an email and have you reach out to Greg and ask him to come and do it.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's it. We are trying to get the policies and stuff up on the website, but Aaron has contacted Civic Plus repeatedly with no help. He gets them scanned in. And then either the links don't work, they work on the backside, because I'm like, I clicked on this and I got it, but we're on the backside. They just,
So don't mail the check that is in the AP warrant then. Yeah, if it hasn't gone out yet.
it's already gone out, because
Okay.
it was signed off,
All right.
but, so he keeps calling, so,
If he doesn't get an answer, like first of the week, let me know and I will reach.
yeah.
You put a stop payment,
And you gotta pay for it though.
Yeah.
I know,
You gotta
but
pay for a stop payment, so.
$30 is cheaper than
No.
4,500.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
if he doesn't get an answer like by Tuesday, let me know and I will reach out to them.
okay,
Cause I still have the salesperson's contact, so. If we don't have something back from them, I will reach out.
so it's a work in progress, we have been working on that, but.
Cause I've got no two contacts in the last week asking for ordinances, so.
Yeah, he started scanning, we went back, we found a lot of the agendas and stuff that we had put up there,
Mhm,
and they're just. When you click on agendas, they're not there,
mhm.
so. And we all know I'm not techie, but. Even I should be able to find it. So,
It's supposed to be designed so
Everybody
everybody
can.
can find them.
Kathy can't find it, I'm not finding it. So I think that's it, we've been busy and, going through car registrations, there's just a lot of people buying new cars.
Alrighty. Any other business? Okay, approval of the warrants, AP warrant number 42, $708, 44. $148,042.96. Excuse me, number 46, $29,564.70. And number 47, $787.73. Payroll warrants, number 41, $5,804.31. Number 43, $5,342.95. And number 45, $7,579.69, excuse me, $7,569.69.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sean? Yes. Carol?
Yes.
Yes. Michelle?
Yes.
And Christine?
Yes,
Public comment.
Committee reports.
All right. Unless there's anything pressing, I'm gonna skip committee reports.
No, you're not.
No, no,
You're not.
All right, never mind. Committee reports.
No, I just wanna say, because it was roughly 2 weeks ago. I signed off on $271.32 for management costs. And then yesterday morning, along with the 27,000 plus for the design and engineering plan. There was also $3,996.37 for the road, for the work that they did to make Cantwell Road passable immediately following the storm. So those should be, in theory, coming down the pipeline within the next month.
6 months.
From FEMA.
I know, I'm just saying.
From FEMA?
Yes,
So when those come in, they need to go into the highway road reserve account, correct?
correct, yeah,
Okay, I was just asking.
No,
I
it's-
think that's where it came out of. That's
it
why I was
is,
asking.
yeah.
Okay.
So, whenever. Whenever they show up, that's where they're headed.
Nice.
And the letter was sent out to Lakeshore Drive sewer users. To please stop flushing personal care wipes. So hopefully that resolves that issue. He's had to pull the pump down there 6 times this summer. The last 2 times were 2 weeks apart. Because personal care wipes are clogging the pump. So.
Perfect.
They're keeping. And even though they're marked flushable, they're not. Please don't.
I think there's 2 properties in Woodford Drive that are Airbnbs. Is there a way to make those landowners particularly aware of it?
Letters are sent out to all, so.
You should send a letter to the apartment building on top of Main Street, because that dumps into Lakeshore Garage.
Oh, that does? I was not aware of that. Okay.
Dave's aware of it.
Can,
Harrington was the name.
okay. Could you take care of that one, Kathy? Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else?
No,
Sean?
Carol, did you touch base with the Historical Society?
no, because we hadn't set up a time, I think we set up a date. We were gonna talk about a date and then I would contact them.
So, yeah, December's right around the corner, so, if we are going to do a Polar Express, showing of the movie Polar Express and do that, we gotta pick out a date.
Yeah.
We're doing lighting on the tree on December 1st. I'll pull up the Historical Society calendar on my phone.
Well, we know we're not doing it December 7th.
No. Yeah, I know December 7th there, and then December 8th too, right? You guys doing cribbage on December 8th? Or is the 7th a Sunday? Oh, the 1st, okay, so the 1st is, oh yeah, the 1st is a Sunday. Cause we're lighting the tree on the 1st too.
When is it back there?
The 7th.
The 7th, so it would have to be after that.
When is it?
December 1st is the lighting of the tree, 5:30.
Is cornhole the 8th?
I don't know. Look at Andy's post it, or I think he had all 3.
I'm trying to find their calendar.
What about the 14th?
I think I'm out of town, but you guys can do it.
Yep, your kiddos can't like that, or are your kiddos not out of town?
The kiddos are probably not gonna be out of town.
You're such a twit. Leave the kids behind.
Well, okay.
You wanna
Yeah,
speak
you're
to that,
supposed to shop at
Michelle, or is that too late?
The what, the 14th? No,
Yeah.
I think that was what day is that on?
Saturday.
Saturday?
At 1 o'clock on the 14th, there's Reese across America on Canton.
Right, but I mean, this would be an
So we can
evening
do it
too,
later.
yeah.
Yeah, like,
It would
probably
be
like an
evening.
evening thing. Like a
We
6,
turn the heat on.
like a 6 o'clock thing,
Yeah, 5, 6, anywhere around there, I would think. Probably 6 would be better.
and cookies and hot chocolate,
Yep.
and the movie,
And the popcorn.
and popcorn.
Yep.
Do we have a popcorn machine?
No, but the historical society
They do.
does.
They do? Okay, so popcorn, hot chocolate, cookies, the movie.
Will you send that to me and then or something, because we have a meeting Tuesday night so that I can remember.
Okay, what time do we want to decide?
I say it starts at 6.
6?
Yeah.
Okay,
So we gotta get the movie license thing, or however you go about doing that.
So Polar Express showing at the Historical Society, December 14th at 6.
yep,
Courtesy of the events committee.
Is there any cost to that? To the attendees?
I don't think so, you?
Just asking.
No,
I don't care either way. I'm just asking.
unless we,
You can take donations.
I was gonna say.
I
unless-
mean,
Well,
yeah.
I was just asking so that you could have something to post, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Donation
we
to-
could do donations for the events committee
Yeah, that or to the historical, either way, yeah.
or the historical society, yeah.
I mean,
I was just,
Events committee
I was thinking the events
Keeps it
committee,
going.
to keep the events committee going, yeah,
for
No,
further,
either
for
way.
further events.
for more
Yeah.
events, yeah. So, and then pajamas are required.
Appropriate,
Suitable.
appropriate.
Appropriate pajamas,
Please.
pajamas. PJs required. No, not required.
Encouraged.
Encouraged.
There you go.
yes.
Are you gonna make a poster, or do you want me to?
You can make a poster.
What was
I'm
that?
not a good poster maker.
That's making posters.
I don't have a
Oh, and I
camera
gotta
thing,
post the tree lighting.
yeah.
Any other committee reports?
No, that's all I wanted to get squared away tonight, thank you.
I'll just say soccer is done, for the
Oh,
rec committee.
yeah, thank you.
Soccer is completed. Danielle finished everything up. So the bills and everything are in for that.
All the equipment's upstairs?
Soccer equipment,
They brought it back today?
great. Soccer equipment's all
nice.
upstairs.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, any other board comments or questions?
Breeze across America.
No,
We've done that in a public comment.
Renault
Oh, I
is
did have
going
another
to be cutting the trees in Medview Cemetery, weather permitting, and one in Simmons.
Does he know roughly when or just?
Now, he
Okay.
wasn't real sure, but yeah.
Mary,
So
you
that
take
would-
note of Breeze across America, December 14th,
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll back.
No, he wasn't sure when,
Okay,
weather permitting.
sounds good.
Where is the wreath across America?
Inside.
Canton Point Cemetery. Hillside. Outback, whatever you wanna call it, all of the above.
Behind Robin's
Okay.
house.
Yep.
I did have a question. My question is, and I think this has come up before, but I don't remember the answer. Who parks their tractor trailer, but at the old Canton school?
I don't know his
And
name.
I,
Yeah,
All right,
There's two people. One of them I don't know.
yeah.
Shane Gallant parks there sometimes, and I don't know who the other person is.
all right. Was there, and was there an approval process for that to happen? And the only reason why I ask is because I was driving by the other day and I noticed one of the tractor trailer trucks one of the tractor trailers was right in front of the basketball hoop, which then defeats the purpose of people going to play like us saying that that is an available space for people to play basketball or use that
find out.
space.
As far as I know, it's a gentleman from Hartford.
Okay,
That's all I can tell you, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that last year. I can find out, so.
yeah,
Last year.
They had called the office and asked for approval at one point.
Yeah, if we can just
Yeah.
ask them to stay.
well away from any recreational stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, that was all I had.
I think at some point it would be nice if Andy and David Lee could look at the tree that's right next to the basketball hoop and see if that's something they can cut.
Yeah,
Because
You'll cut it.
it's growing over.
Is it cherry tree?
I honestly don't know.
Why am
whether
I
I'd have to
asking
go
you?
look. I haven't looked at it. I just,
No, I'm just trying to picture which one it
it's a
is.
tree that's in the way.
of the basketball hoops growing over it.
So
Okay, I will do that.
if it's something that they feel comfortable cutting, go for it.
Yes.
If it's not, then we can see if Jim can, when he gets done in Medview, swing by and take care of that at the same time. Just to,
So on the same agenda, picking you three's brains.
Oh, God.
It's not working right now.
I've had two meetings Zoom meetings with AdCog.
Mhm.
What do you guys know about Um. What, is it Christine? Here, Harriet? Christine, Harriet,
Christie, yeah,
for a project on that old school. Because they told me that had to be turned over to a nonprofit agency.
that's
Mhm.
right. That's what they
So
called
have
us.
you guys done anything about that?
No,
Nothing at all.
nothing beyond that conversation, no. We got to the point where it had to be turned over to a nonprofit. We talked about it, and at the time, we all agreed not to pursue it because of the last time it was turned over, well, two reasons. The last time it was turned over to a nonprofit, it was a complete mess.
Right,
And then the other part of it was, there were a lot of questions around if that property was turned over to a nonprofit, what would happen with insurances? And the main reasons being, so using that, especially the parking lot for parking for all of our events. If something was to happen, where right now it's owned and managed by the town's liability umbrella covers us. If it's owned by a nonprofit, then the town's liability no longer applies.
did they tell you that? Or did you just say, does it no longer apply?
That's the question, is if that is not owned by the town of Canton anymore. Our concern was that could potentially mean liability insurance would not cover. The other concerns were around, ownership and able to use it for parking for the ball field and stuff in town events. But, so that's why, and then right about the time we had those conversations was when we got done. So at that point it was. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where it was left off.
yeah.
Okay.
But at the time, if I remember correctly, they also couldn't guarantee that if it was owned by a nonprofit, it would actually make it through the process of the brownfield cleanup.
They can guarantee that it'll be 100% done if a nonprofit owns it. And the nonprofit can give it back.
Was there something that said how long?
No,
Or was
that
that
was
something we were
one of the
waiting for an answer
questions.
on?
One of the questions of the board at the time was there a designated amount of time before the nonprofit could turn it back over to the town after the project was completed?
Because a phase one assessment wasn't done on that. When it was given back to the town, that you gave me, they said it was a phase two.
We did go through phase one. We had to do one before we could do two.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just telling you what they told me. I spent a lot of time on the phone with Adcog and Brownfield
Trying to what time these one involved.
Yeah, cause we went through a couple different,
phases.
yeah, we went through, that's what I mean, I know we went through it. I'd have to dig through my email and stuff.
The only way it can be 100% cleaned up is if it's given to a nonprofit, because
Mhm.
it can be. The asbestos and the lead paint
Mhm.
can be done. Through the town right now, but it can't be demoed unless a
Right.
nonprofit owns it. And this lead paint contaminated the ground on the outside. So it needs to be a fence put around it now.
Yeah.
And that goes back right to her basketball issue.
Mhm.
Theoretically,
'Cause you're
people
within
should
about
be
15
playing
feet.
basketball down there. And there shouldn't be any trucks parked down there.
Did they tell you a parameter?
No, not until they do the phase one site. But they want fence around it now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, did they give you a parameter of how much,
Right.
how far away the fence?
They've got all the paperwork. They remember talking to.
Yeah.
Christie Carey.
Yeah.
So
where the heck did the phase one stuff go?
I can
Well, she
dig, I know,
sent me
I've got
something.
paper copies.
yeah, I
phase
sent you,
two.
I was looking,
And it doesn't make a difference whether it's phase one or phase two,
Yeah.
whatever wasn't done, they've gotta do that before
Well, I thought they were both done.
it's given
Yeah.
to
They
a,
were, but
before it's given to a
Yeah.
nonprofit. And they don't want the town to create a nonprofit, because it looks pretty shady.
no, you can't. And that was part of our issue was, one, who would do the nonprofit? Who would manage it? Would they have to cover their own insurances and incorporation fees? What was the other thing we talked? There was something else that came up when we talked about the
Well,
possibility.
I got the application, the brownfield site assessment.
What I need to know is whether you guys approached any.
No, we have
historical
not, no.
society,
No.
church,
No,
we haven't.
Cause we had too many questions.
Yeah, there were a lot of unanswered questions, so that's where, and then like say Christine was down and it just died.
Because
Cause none of the rest of us had the time to take
they
it.
were all about getting this on board and getting it done. They want to get it done 100%. I didn't want to approach it unless they could do it 100%.
Will they still, will,
Yeah.
no, what my question is, will APCOG still do it where we are not, where we're no longer APCOG members?
Ooh.
That's my only question.
Amy Landry, and that's who Christie dealt with.
Yeah.
Is 100% on board.
Mhm.
Brownfield's 100% on board.
Mhm.
But I didn't want to even go down this road unless they were gonna do 100%.
Yeah.
To write down, seeding it over, then the town decides what they want to do with it afterwards.
Yeah.
Whether it's a parking lot, whether it's a playground, you know, a field that kids can play in,
Yes,
no sense in doing it partially.
no, I agree.
It's gotta be done 100%.
Mhm. It would be interesting to know the limits around if it did go to a nonprofit, how long would they have to hold ownership of it?
They claim that within 2 months, they would be in there tearing it down.
Right, but I mean, after the process is all over, before the nonprofit could give it back to the town, what would that time period be?
I'll find that out. next
I'm
week.
just curious,
Oh,
just
yeah.
to know, because I think that might ease some people's concerns around. You know, how that could be done in the future, what could happen in the future with that law.
Yeah, I don't know what type of relationship the town has with the historical society. If whether they're gonna say, hell no, we're not gonna do anything for the town or the church or other nonprofits.
So
I don't know.
if you find out how long somebody else's ownership is required, could they also give you some insight as to like the insurance on it? Cause I'm sure whoever, yeah.
It's the liability
Wow,
of
we'd
the
have
thing, but see,
We'd have to
once they start demoing it, that company is gonna be,
The one that's on the hook.
that's on the
Yeah,
hook.
okay.
That's why there needs to be fencing around it.
Yeah.
It's the period between when they start doing the assessment on it. I'm just throwing this out
Yeah.
there. I'm just saying that the church took it over as a nonprofit. It's that, probably, I'm gonna say 6 months, the liabilities on the church.
Yeah.
That's why there needs to be fencing around it, and they said you definitely need to put contaminated, what do they call it? Because of contamination or signs
Yeah.
all around.
Signage, yeah,
When Christie was on the board, we were still a member. We stopped our membership in July.
right, but that's what I mean, now that
That's
we're,
right.
now that we're no longer a member, would that affect their
Right.
willingness to help?
Maybe the town's gonna have to join it. What is it,
It's
600
cut
bucks?
out of the budget, keep going.
No,
Well, if the town won't spend $5,000 on it, you're not very serious about
No, I
what the
I
liability
was
that's
just
gonna.
throwing that out there, it was cut out of the budget, so.
Well, if you don't wanna,
What was the membership fee?
it's gonna
14 or
cost you,
1,500.
Can we,
it's gonna cost you a lot more than that if somebody gets hurt down there.
Oh, I'm not saying against it, I was just making the comment, it was cut out of the budget, so that's all I was coming
okay,
at.
okay, time out.
No.
Mom says time out.
We gotta be real here, Carol.
No, I know, but I'm just.
So you've got stuff, you're gonna look into it,
100%.
right? Okay, so unless there is any other business, I'm going to make a motion that we go into take a 2-minute break and then go into executive session per one MRSA 4056A.
I sent you 2 emails.
Are they new ones?
No, they're about phase 1 brownfield stuff. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Brian.
I made the motion,
I already got
I'll
that.
second.
You
Michelle
have,
seconded it,
you have somebody on my phone.
I'll ask.
go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if you're talking about liability and everything. What happens when somebody has taken over a couple pieces of land? And the person I think of is Mark Blanchett, still, because I work with his daughter. And he uses 2 pieces of the town's property.
Mhm.
How does the liability work on those?
He takes liability on it because he has a agreement that says the town
So you
offered.
have agreement with anybody that uses town property?
Supposed to,
Okay, good. Yeah, just.
Yep.
Okay, well, the liability is-
This,
Yeah, good.
all right, we are on a 2-minute recess. And,
Yes, I approve both.
Christine, do you, we can send you a new link for executive session
Or just join my phone.
or speakerphone, which would you prefer?
Whatever you think is easiest. We can do speaker or a link. I'm game either way.
Okay, let's do speakerphone, might be easier.
Okay,
Call you in a minute.
thank you.